The chief priests and the scribes were the church leaders of the day. They were to be the repository of knowledge among the people. They read the scriptures aloud before the people in services, but as we see them in our text, they are, as Paul described in 2 Timothy 3 verse 5, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. The scribes and the chief priests, who were seemingly best positioned to receive Christ because of their knowledge of the ancient text, sought to discredit the Christ in the text. While biblical and historical study tells us that the roles of the chief priests and the scribes were what they were when Jesus enters the temple, we don't see any of the work of their sphere of responsibility happening in the temple. We later find that they are around because they come to question Jesus, who's performing the functions that they should have been in the first place. We see no fruit of their designated duty and position in the temple. We categorize the chief priests and the scribes as family in fashion because even lesser than money changers and dove sellers serving some function doing church, they showed up just to have church. Family in function alone regularly attends the worship service because it's the thing to do. But these family members seek to serve no purpose in God's plan. Family in fashion alone do not support the church vision, work in any ministry, evangelize anybody outside of the body. Many family members in fashion alone come to church services for just that fashion. It's bothered Jesus. Bothered him so much, it's his first stop in Holy Week. Many family members in fashion alone come to commentate, but I can't believe he had on, I shouldn't even put that back in the closet. She wore that last year, same Sunday. Family in fashion can put church on and off just as easily as a new suit or an old pair of shoes. Family in fashion alone attends the church for fashion, comes to church focused on fashion, and will leave this church and go to the other when it's fashionable. Family in fashion alone see every act, hear every word, and don't like nothing. Look. I'm talking about the scribes and the priests. Talking about the scribes and the priests. Here they are. They saw, the text says, they saw these wonderful things. They saw wonderful, the implication is that they saw miracles happening. They saw people get healed. They saw people be reconciled to community. They saw children singing Hosanna. And after seeing these wonderful things in verse 15 and verse 16, they come question, hearest thou what he say? They saw the miracles, they heard the praise, and rather than testifying, joining in, sharing the good news, we see them in verse 16 quenching the spirit and questioning the spiritual leader about the spirit's movement. The chief priests and the scribes were exemplary examples of the temple system of Christ's day that gets cursed, and later on tomorrow in Holy Week we see withered up with a fig tree that maintained elaborate buildings and executed beautiful ceremonies and produced no fruit. They were a vision inside the temple system represented by the fig tree found later in this chapter that Jesus curses for its lack of productivity. The question to be asked in the spirit of application today is, are we family in fashion having church? Do we act like Christians for fashion? Do we dress like Christians for fashion? Do we talk like Christians for fashion? Do we use the fashionable churchy language? I'm blessed and highly favored of the Lord. Do we walk like Christians for fashion, or are we having church, or are we the church?